and welcome to Springfield Career Insights. Tonight, we explore 3 pillars that determine whether a young person rises, stabilizes, or remains stuck: confidence, discipline, and personal identity. Many young people are talented, but they doubt themselves. They have dreams, but they lack consistency. They want progress, but they do not yet know who they are or what they stand for. In a world full of pressure, comparison, and distraction, confidence becomes fragile, discipline becomes difficult, and identity becomes confused. Yet these 3 qualities are the foundation of every strong future. So we ask, how does a young person build real confidence, not arrogance, not performance, but inner strength? How do they develop discipline when motivation fades? And how do they form a personal identity that is not controlled by friends, trends, or social media? To guide us through this transformative conversation, we are joined by His Excellency Dr. Godfrey Gandawa, President of Springfield Research University, Architect of Education 6.0, and a continental voice on human behavior, youth development, and identity formation. President, welcome.
Thank you, Doctor. At Springfield, we teach that confidence is built through action. Discipline is built through consistency, and identity is built through values. A young person becomes powerful when they know who they are, where they are going, and what they refuse to compromise. When confidence, discipline, and identity align, a young person, Doctor, becomes unstoppable. Not because life is easy, but because they are grounded, focused, and self-directed.
Thank you, Professor. President, many young people look confident on the outside, but feel lost inside. Why is identity such a struggle for this generation?
So thank you, Doctor. So identity is a struggle for this generation because the world is louder than the inner voice. Young people are surrounded by opinions, expectations, comparisons, and pressures that speak so aggressively that their own voice becomes faint. They look confident on the outside because performance is easy. But inside, many feel lost because they have never been taught how to meet themselves. This generation is growing up in a world where they are told who to be because they discover who they are. They are pressured to impress before they learn to understand themselves. They are pushed to compete before they learn to reflect. They are exposed to thousands of identities online, Doctor, before they build one of their own. So identity becomes a struggle not because they are weak, but because the world around them is overwhelming. A young person cannot build identity in noise, Doctor. Identity requires silence, reflection, and honesty. It requires stepping away from comparison and stepping into self-awareness. When a young person finally pauses long enough to hear their own voice, clarity begins. Direction begins. Identity begins.
Thank you, Professor. When a young person feels unsure of who they are, what is the first step towards building personal identity?
So thank you, Doctor. When a young person feels unsure of who they are, the first step towards building personal identity is to pause and tell the truth about their inner state. Not to pretend, not to perform, not to copy others, but to admit quietly and honestly, I do not know myself yet. Identity begins the moment a young person stops running from themselves and starts meeting themselves. So, at Springfield, we teach that the foundation of identity is self-awareness, and self-awareness begins with three simple but powerful questions. Who am I when no one is watching? Who do I value when no one is influencing me? What kind of life feels true to my spirit, not my surroundings? A young person cannot build identity from trends, pressure, or comparison. They build it from reflection, from listening to their own voice, and from separating who they truly are from who the world wants them to be. The first step is not action, doctor. It is honesty. The moment they stop pretending, clarity begins. The moment they stop performing, direction emerges. The moment they stop comparing, identity takes shape. So identity is not found outside. Identity is discovered inside through truth, reflection, and courage, doctor.
Thank you, Professor. Let's take a commercial break and stay tuned.
This way, sir. The governance specialist is reviewing the new policy.
Dr. Gandawa, sir?
Yes, my sister. Good morning. Let's see the latest on the policy review.
Right here, Dr. G. The analyst is ready. Dr. G, I'm the governance analyst for this review. I graduated from Springfield Reese University. I never imagined I'd be shaping legislation and advising a national leader. SRU gave me the political insight, the discipline, and the courage Amisha will serve our nation well.
You strengthen institutions and protect democracy. Springfield only taught you the theory, you turned it into leadership.
Thank you, Dr. G.
Become the next leader in governance. Study BA Political Science and Governance at Springfield Research University.
Springfield Research University. The globe is here. Where are you?
Welcome back. Let's continue our discussion. You often say confidence is built, not inherited. What does that process look like in real life?
So thank you, doctor. So confidence is built the same way a house is built. Brick by brick, action by action, moment by moment. No one is born with it. No one wakes up and suddenly has it. It grows through lived experience, not wishful thinking. In real life, the process looks like this, doctor. A young person does something small and succeeds. That success becomes a brick. They try something difficult and survive it. That survival becomes a brick. They face fear but act anyway. That courage becomes a brick. They fail but rise again. That resilience becomes a brick. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the memory of victories, recoveries, and lessons. Every time a young person keeps a promise to themselves, their confidence strengthens. Every time they show up, even when they don't feel ready, their confidence expands. Every time they choose discipline over impulse, their confidence deepens. Confidence is built through evidence. Evidence that says, I can do hard things, I can recover from mistakes, I can trust myself. So the process is not magical, doctor. It is practical. It is daily. It is earned. A young person becomes confident not by talking about their potential, but by proving it to themselves through constant action. That is how confidence is built in the real world, not inherited, not gifted, but constructed through discipline, courage, and repetition.
Thank you, Professor. President, how can young people develop discipline when their environment is full of distractions?
Thank you, Doctor. Young people can develop discipline even in a world full of distractions, but it begins with ownership, not environment. A distracted environment is not the real problem. The real problem is undisciplined inner environment. Discipline is not built by controlling the world around you. It is built by controlling the world within you. And here is the truth I always teach. A young person becomes disciplined the moment they decide that their future is more important than their impulses. Distractions will always exist, Doctor. Noise, trends, pressure, entertainment, comparison, temptation. So these things are permanent features of modern life. But discipline is built through deliberate structure, such as creating routines that protect your goals, setting boundaries that protect your time, choosing environments that support your growth, removing triggers that weaken your focus, and practicing small acts of self-control every single day, Doctor. So discipline grows when a young person learns to say, I will not follow everything that calls my attention. I will not respond to every emotion. I will not surrender my future to temporary pleasures. The environment may be loud, but discipline is the ability to stay committed even when the world is pulling you in the other direction, Doctor. A disciplined young person is not the one with the quickest surroundings or quietest surroundings. It is the one with the strongest priorities. When priorities become clear, distractions lose their power. When purpose becomes strong, noise becomes background. When a young person chooses a structure, their future becomes predictable. So discipline is not built in silence, Doctor. It is built in resistance, resisting impulses, resisting pressure, resisting the easy path. That is how young people rise above distraction and build a life anchored in intention, not chaos.
Thank you, Professor. Many young people compare themselves to others and lose confidence. How can they break this cycle?
Thank you, Doctor. Young people fall into the comparison trap because the world constantly shows them other people's highlights but hides their own progress. To break this cycle, they must shift from external measurement to internal growth. Comparison ends the moment a young person realizes this truth. You cannot compare your becoming to someone else's completion. Here is how they break the cycle. They stop looking sideways. They start looking inwards. They stop measuring themselves against the timelines they never agreed to, and start honoring the pace that is true to their journey. They stop asking, why am I not like them? And start asking, what is my next step? So at Springfield, we teach that confidence grows when a young person focuses on their own strength, their own progress, their own story, their own land. Comparison steals joy because it forces a young person to judge themselves using someone else's script. But identity strengthens when they choose to write their own. You write your own script. The cycle breaks, doctor, when they understand that someone else's success is not your failure. Someone else's speed is not your delay. Someone else's path is not your destination. A young person becomes free when they stop competing with the world and start competing with the person they were yesterday. That is how confidence returns, doctor. That is how identity stabilizes. That is how comparison loses its power.
Thank you, Professor. Let's take a break and listen to our gospel song, I'm Not Alone in the Valley.
I'm not alone in this valley. I've walked through quiet shadows where the sunlight couldn't reach. I've carried heavy questions that no sermon seemed to teach. But even in the silence, where my heart felt out of place, I sensed your gentle footsteps. You were walking at my pace. I'm not alone in this valley. You are here with me. Your riding steps around me. Your presence is my peace. Oh, though the night may linger longer than I ever thought it would be, shepherd walks with me. I'm not alone in this valley. God walks with me.
Welcome back. Let's continue with our discussion. President, how can young people build identity when they come from environments that constantly criticizes them or undermines them?
Thank you, Doctor. So a young person who grows up in an environment of criticism, comparison, or constant undermining faces a unique battle. Because they are trying to build identity in a place that keeps breaking it. But identity can still be built, and often it becomes even stronger because it was forged in resistance. And here's the truth. When the world around you keeps attacking your worth, you must learn to build your identity from within, not from outside. Environments that criticize you teach you three things. They teach you what you are not. They teach you what you will not accept. And they teach you who you must become to rise above them. So a young person can build identity in such an environment by doing three powerful things, Doctor. Number one, you separate the voice of the environment from the voice of the self. Just because someone speaks loudly does not mean they speak truth. Criticism is often projection, not what evaluation. So a young person must learn to say that is their opinion, not my identity. Secondly, you build an inner sanctuary, a private space where their worth is not up for negotiation. This is where reflection happens. This is where values are chosen. This is where self-belief is protected. So identity grows when a young person stops letting external noise define their internal narrative. And thirdly, Doctor, use the negativity as contrast, not definition. A harsh environment can become a mirror that shows a young person exactly what they refuse to become. It can sharpen their values, it can strengthen their boundaries, it can deepen their clarity. So some of the strongest identities come from the most difficult environments, because those young people learn early that their worth must come from conviction, not approval. So the message is simple, Doctor. Your environment may shape your experiences, but it does not have the authority to shape your identity. Identity is built by the one who lives the life, not by the ones who comment on it.
Thank you, Professor. President, how can young people stay consistent when motivation fades?
Thank you, Doctor. So young people lose consistency because they rely on motivation. And the motivation is emotional. It rises, it falls, it disappears, it returns. It is unstable by nature. So consistency, however, is not built on emotion. It is built on structure, Doctor. To stay consistent when motivation fails, a young person must shift from I feel like it to I committed to it. Here is the truth we teach. Motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a resident. Consistency is the child of discipline, not motivation. So motivation is a visitor, discipline is a resident, Consistency is the child of discipline, not motivation. So a young person stays consistent by doing three powerful things, doctor. First, build systems, not moods. If your progress depends on how you feel, you will never rise. Systems, routines, schedules, habits carry you when emotions fail. Secondly, reduce the size of the task, not the size of the dream. When motivation fades, the task feels heavy. So break it down, make it small, make it doable. Consistency grows when the next step is simple, not overwhelming. And third, doctor, anchor your actions to identity, not excitement. A motivated person says, I want to do this. A consistent person says, this is who I am. When a young person begins to see themselves as someone who shows up, someone who honors their commitments, someone who finishes what they start, consistency becomes natural. You see? Doctor, motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. Identity is the fuel. When motivation fades, and it will, identity must take over. That is how young people stay consistent in a world full of what? Noise, pressure, distraction.
Thank you, Professor. Many young people fear being judged when they try new things. How can they overcome this fear?
Thank you, Doctor. So when young people fear being judged because judgment feels like a rejection, and rejection feels like a threat to identity, belonging, and self-worth. But the fear is not a sign of weakness, Doctor. It is a sign that they care too much about the wrong audience. To overcome this fear, a young person must understand one liberating truth. People who judge you are not the ones who will build your future. Here is how they rise above the fear, Doctor. They stop performing for spectators and start living for purpose. They stop asking, what will people say? This is what we always do. What will people say? You must stop that and start asking, what will happen if I don't grow? They stop fearing embarrassment and start fearing stagnation. So at Springfield, we teach that judgment loses its power when a person realizes most people are not watching. Most people are not thinking about you. Most people are busy managing their own insecurities. I'm saying most. The fear of judgment is a psychological illusion, Doctor. A spotlight effect that makes young people believe the world is paying too much attention, when in reality, the world is distracted. Everyone is fighting their own battle. So a young person overcomes this fear by doing three good things, Doctor. First, you shift the focus from approval to progress. Approval is unpredictable. Progress is measurable. When growth becomes the goal, judgment becomes irrelevant. Secondly, accept that judgment is unavoidable. Even if you do nothing, someone will still judge you, Doctor. So, you might as well be judged for becoming better. And thirdly, build courage through action. Confidence grows every time you act despite fear. The more you try, the less power judgment has. The truth is simple, doctor. People will talk whether you rise or remain stuck. Bayathanda ukukhuluma. They like talking. Vanofarira kutaura. So choose the path that builds your future, not the one that protects your comfort. When a young person realizes that judgment cannot stop destiny, they stop shrinking and start becoming.
Thank you, Professor. Let's take a break and listen to our gospel song, Joy is Breaking Through.
Joy is breaking through. Oh, the night tried hard to linger, but your light came rushing in. The weight I carried quietly started lifting from within. What sorrow tried to bury, you revived with heaven's truth. Now the sound inside my spirit is that joy is breaking through. Joy is breaking through, like a sunrise on the run. Joy is breaking through. Every shadow comes undone. Oh, what the enemy tried to silence now is rising strong and new. My heart is singing loudly. Joy is breaking through. I've danced on broken pieces. I've praised through trembling fear. But every time I worship, your presence drew me near. Now laughter floods the places where my tears once overflowed. For the joy of God is rising, and it's taking back its throne. Joy is breaking through, like a sunrise on the run. Joy is breaking through. Every shadow comes undone. Oh, what the enemy tried to silence now is rising strong and new. My heart is singing loudly. Joy is breaking through. Let the heavens hear my shouting. Let the earth join in the sound. For the God who turns our mourning is the God who lifts us now. Oh, every chain is losing power. Every fear is losing room. For the joy of God is roaring, and it's breaking through. Joy is breaking through, like the sunrise on the run. Joy is breaking through. Every shadow comes undone. Oh, what the enemy tried to silence now is rising strong and new. My heart is singing loudly. Joy is breaking through. Jabula yami afuka
Welcome back. Let's continue with our discussion. Some young people feel like failures because of past mistakes. How can they rebuild their identity?
Thank you, Doctor. So, young people feel like failures after past mistakes because they confuse an event with a destiny. They think I failed, and it quietly becomes I am a failure. Is it? But a mistake, Doctor, is a moment. It's not a definition. To rebuild identity, a young person must begin with the one liberating truth. Maybe I should not say a young person here now. I must say a person, because even adults, there are some adults like this. So, you are not your past behavior, Doctor. You are your future decisions. So, here is how they rebuild. First, they must separate the mistake from the self. A mistake is something you did, not something you are. You are not the mistake. But what you did is the mistake. Once a person understands this, shame loses its grip. Reflection becomes possible. Growth becomes possible. Secondly, Doctor, they must face the truth without attacking themselves. Identity is rebuilt through honest reflection, not self-punishment. So a person or a young person can say, yes, I made errors. Yes, I caused harm. Yes, I lost my way. But I am choosing a different path now. This honest, Doctor, becomes the foundation of a new identity. Third, they must rewrite the story. Every mistake carries a lesson. Every failure carries information. Every setback carries wisdom. Only if you look at it, I failed because I did this. So next time you don't get into that road. So a young person or a person rebuilds identity by asking, what did this teach me about who I want to become? So the past becomes what? A teacher, Doctor, not a prison. And fourth, they must practice new behaviors that reflect the identity they want. Identity is not rebuilt through thinking. It is rebuilt through action. Small, consistent behaviors create a new self-image, showing up on time, keeping promises, setting boundaries, choosing discipline, correcting old patterns. You can't be living in your old self and want to be new. So every small victory becomes a brick in the new identity. Fifth, Doctor, they must surround themselves with environments that reinforce growth. You see? You can't say you want to stop smoking and drinking and you go visit your friends in the bar every day. You see? You see the irony? If you want to stop drinking and smoking, you must visit the church every day. Not the bar. So a young person or a person cannot rebuild identity in spaces that constantly remind them of who they used to be. You see that point? They need new environments that speak to their potential, not their past. So at Springfield, we teach that identity is not a fixed object. It is a construction. It can be rebuilt. It can be redesigned. It can be reborn, doctor. A young person or a person is never defined by the chapter they regret. They are defined by the chapter they choose to write next.
Thank you, Professor. President, how can young people protect their identity from negative influences, friends, social media, or culture?
Thank you, doctor. So young people lose their identity to negative influences because influence is subtle. It does not shout, it whispers. It does not force, it nudges. It does not break the door. It slowly rearranges the furniture of the mind. So to protect identity, a young person must understand one powerful truth. Your identity is only as strong as the voices you allow to shape it. Friends, social media, and the culture can either build you or slowly dismantle you. Here is how a young person or a person protects their identity, doctor. First, they must choose their cycles with intention. Friends are not just people you spend time with, you see. They are people who shape your thinking, your habits, your standards. A young person must ask, do the people around me strengthen who I am or weaken who I am becoming? This is the major problem. If the answer is uncomfortable, the cycle must change. Secondly, they must treat social media as a tool, not a teacher. Hey, Laboge. Social media is the highlight reel, not a life manual. It shows perfection, not process. It shows performance, not identity. A young person protects themselves by consuming consciously, not emotionally. They must learn to scroll with discipline, not insecurity. And third, doctor, they must anchor themselves in values, not trends. Culture changes every season. Values remain. So a young person with strong values cannot be easily moved because they know what they stand for and what they refuse to compromise. So that values are the roots that keep identity stable even when the cultural winds blow. And fourth, doctor, they must practice solitude. Identity is not built in crowds. It is built in quiet moments where a young person hears their own voice without interference, compromise, or pressure. Solitude is not loneliness. It is alignment. And fifth, they must set boundaries without apology. A person or a young person must learn to say, I do not consume that. I do not follow that. I do not participate in that. I do not allow that energy near my identity. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters that protect the soul. And at Springfield, we teach that identity is not something you find once. It is something you protect daily. And protection requires clarity, courage, and consistency, doctor. When a young person chooses their influences wisely, their identity becomes unshakable, not because the world is gentle, but because they are grounded.
Thank you, Professor. What is the relationship between discipline and freedom in a young person's life?
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. So discipline and freedom are not enemies. They are partners. A young person discovers real freedom the moment they realize that discipline is not a cage. It is the structure that keeps their life from collapsing. When you are disciplined, you move through life with fewer crises. You avoid the unnecessary fires that burn time, energy, and opportunity. You become free from the consequences that trap other people. And when you are disciplined, you gain options, you gain choices. You gain the ability to say yes to your future because you are not busy repairing the damage of your impulses. That is the freedom young people are searching for. The freedom to grow, to advance, to build, to rise. Discipline, Doctor, gives you time. It gives you clarity. It gives you emotional stability. It gives you financial breathing room. It gives you a life that does not spin out of control. So, the relationship is simple and powerful, Doctor. Discipline is the architect. Freedom is the house it builds. So a young person who embraces discipline becomes free, not because life becomes easier, but because they become stronger.
Wow, this is amazing. Let's take a commercial break and stay tuned.
Welcome to Springfield Research University. How may I assist you today?
I'm here to co-op postgraduate research.
Of course. Please follow me. The Dean of Research will assist you. This is our research wing. We're very proud of it.
It's incredible. So much happening.
Every day, our scholars push boundaries.
I can see that. It's inspiring.
Welcome to the Center for Postgraduate Studies. Here, our PhD MPhil programs span the frontiers of human knowledge. Within each domain, you may specialize or transform dates.
Whatever your field, your research begins here.
Springfield Research University. The globe is here. Where are you?
Welcome back. Let's continue our discussion. How can young people avoid copying others and instead build an authentic version of themselves?
Oh, thank you, Doctor. So, young people copy others because imitation feels safer than authenticity. It feels easier to borrow an identity than to build one, you see? But the danger is simple. When you copy others, you disappear. Authenticity begins the moment a young person realizes that the world does not need another version of someone else. It needs the version of them that only they can produce. The first shift is this, Doctor. Stop looking at people as templates. Start looking at them as references. You can learn from others, but you cannot live as them. A young person becomes authentic when they start paying attention to what feels natural, not what looks popular. When they notice that what energizes them, not what impresses others. When they choose what aligns with their values, not what aligns with the crowd. And here is the truth many young people never hear, Doctor. Your originality is not found in what you copy. It is found in what you create. Authenticity grows when a young person spends time alone, not lonely, but aligned. Quiet moments reveal who you are without the pressure of performance. That is where identity begins to breathe, and once they start living from that place, something powerful happens. They stop chasing approval, they stop competing with shadows, they stop performing for audiences that don't even know their story. They begin to move with their own rhythm. They begin to speak with their own voice. They begin to walk in their own becoming. A young person becomes authentic by choosing themselves, not the version of the world or the version that the world prefers, but the version that feels honest, grounded, and future focused. When they live like that, imitation becomes impossible because they finally realize that their difference is not a weakness, it is actually an advantage.
Thank you, Professor. Finally, President, what is your message to every young person trying to build confidence, discipline, and identity in a world that constantly challenges them?
Thank you, Doctor. So, young people of this generation, hear me clearly. You are not defined by where you come from. You are not defined by what you decide to become. You and the world you are stepping into does not belong to the loudest or the richest or the most connected. It belongs to the ones who refuse to give up on themselves. You are living in a time where doubt is normal, pressure is constant, and comparison is everywhere. But you must remember this truth. The world cannot stop a young person who has decided to build themselves. Confidence is built, discipline is built, identity is built, and greatness is built brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. You may not have perfect support, you may not have perfect clarity, you may not have perfect circumstances, but you have something far more powerful, the ability to rise anyway. So walk into your future with courage, walk into your dreams with intention, walk into your becoming with fire in your spirit. And when the world challenges you, stand tall. When fear whispers, move anyway. When doubt returns, answer it with action. When life gets heavy, remember who you are becoming. You are not here to shrink. You are not here to copy. You are not here to survive. You are here to build, to grow, to lead, to transform, to become the kind of person your younger self prayed you would be. This is your moment. This is your season. This is your rise. And the world will not forget the generation that refused to be broken. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, President, for showing that confidence is built, discipline is trained, and identity is chosen. Your message tonight empowers young people to become intentional architects of their own character. To our audience, if you are ready to strengthen your identity and build the discipline your future requires, Springfield Research University invites you to join a community where character is curriculum. Visit www.springfieldresearchuniversity.net to begin. This brings us to the end of tonight's edition of Springfield Career Insights. May your confidence grow, your discipline deepen, and your identity solidify. I am Clarence, your host. Good night.
Siyakhuphuka tikitile futsanza lungakiwa hey 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 siyakhuphuka sonke siyavumelana ngemjululo muhle sonke similela. In the heart of Springfield a new dawn breaks with Channel Yamaswati our future takes shape. Career insights, knowledge shared so bright. Together we rise, reaching new heights. Celebration time, our vision clear. With collaboration, there's nothing to fear.